The Charlestown Chiefs, brought to you by Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Need more energy throughout the day? Looking for a kick to your workout? RockinThatIDLife.com has you covered with delicious flavors you've grown to love in tropical fruit and mixed berry, but now fall in love with the new fruit punch and orange flavors. Try them all at RockinThatIDLife.com.
Realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage LLC makes the moving process easier. Work with a realtor who plays and studies the game and will work as hard as the boys on the ice to get you the best deal. Check out Mike on the web at strikewithmike.com and jumpstart your move today. That's strikewithmike.com.
Welcome to episode 17. Let's try this again. Take two. Welcome to episode 17 of season 11. This is episode number 393 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated, fresh goes better radio freshness. Fresh goes better with Let's Go Blues Radio, fresh and full of life. Let's Go Blues Radio, the Fresh Maker. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, Mentos. No, I'm kidding. RockinThatIDLife.com, StrikeWithMike.com, and Center Ice Brewery and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop over at Let'sGoBlues.com for some well-designed and fairly priced blues-themed t-shirts. It's Wednesday, January 18th. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. To interact with the show on social media, our handle on all social channels is LGB Radio. Just search for us and you'll find us. If you haven't already done so, please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, buy a t-shirt from our shop, yell from the rooftops, or do whatever you can do to help us out. I'm your host, who is having an excellent hair day, as you can tell, Jeff Ponder, and my co-hosts for the evening tonight are the man with light-up blue glasses, Kurt Price, and the sultry businessman, Bill Day. The agenda for tonight includes discussion about the Blues winning their 2000th franchise game, a possible quick return for a player currently on IR, a Flyers defenseman under fire for being a self-righteous bigot, recent gameplay, Hall of Fame inductions, yada, yada, yada. All that and more on this widely anticipated episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Gentlemen, how y'all doing?
I don't have my blue light-up glasses on.
No.
but
that is my favorite accessory of yours.
It is one of mine. I told you the story about how a guy wanted to trade me a Stanley Cup rally towel for my glasses at the post-game after Game 7 at Ballpark Village when the Blues won.
Yes.
Yeah.
I turned it down. Not going to happen.
Turn it down.
Yeah, I mean, as awesome as that is, yeah, give me the blue light up glasses any day. Wow, Austin Lynch coming right off the bat saying, "How about Blake Wheeler's testicles?" I don't really want to talk about Blake Wheeler's testicles. Of course, that is a hockey player, is it not? I'm assuming you guys saw the story.
No,
I didn't see the testicle story.
No, he ruptured a testicle. In the middle of the game.
Yes, it did,
and continued playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
if I rupture my testicle, I'm not getting up from where I'm sitting. I'm not moving. You're bringing the doctor to me.
No, I think it was my senior year of high school and I went to CBC all boys school. Luckily we were right across the street from the hospital at the time. But there was like an endemic, like 3 people within a matter of a month, like crushed their own testicles sitting down. It was insane.
Oh, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Is that? I mean, was that on CNN? That feels like it should be. That's national. That's real news.
This is prehistory when cable news was. Yeah, I mean it was basically CNN or but yeah.
So we got Matt Harris in the chat saying, "Wait, the boys were early."
Hello.
Actually, this is not early. This is technically still late, but I guess
Yeah.
it's early for us.
Yeah,
Right.
usually we're starting about now or in a couple minutes. Yeah.
Right.
So Matt is on time, kind of.
Yes, Matt is on time. We are early for us. Apologies if you see a cattail floating around in front of me there. I can't even see where to.
The animal or the thing that grows by ponds.
Hopefully the first one.
You're familiar with the things that grow by ponds?
Cattails? Cattail?
Really?
No, you're not familiar.
The tall things with the little brown, fuzzy hot dog looking things on top?
I mean, I'm sure if I saw it, I'd know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up on break.
A little less of you right now, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit.
What? We're not knowing what it... Okay.
I'm thinking you need to get outside a little bit more.
You did grow up in this area, right?
I guess I just don't know that. I said I probably know it if I see it. I've just never known the name of it.
I would suggest Googling it, but that might not be a good idea this day and age.
Yeah.
Pond.
That too.
Cattail pond.
The cattail pond. Yeah. Boys, we get plenty of show here and the big shoe to talk about. So let's go ahead and get right into our beers of the episode 393. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. You can follow me at jponder94. Kurt is at cprice12. Bill is Billy Blue Note 33. So we will start with Mr. Bill Day. What do you have there, sir?
It's still cold-ish, and so it is still stout season for me. So I'm going with yet another amazing and excessively ABV stout for a podcast. Lagunitas Willetized coffee stout aged in rye oak barrels. It's from Lagunitas up in Chicago. Really good. The rye barrel is a little extra kick. Really enjoying it.
Lagunitas has an IPA that I actually like. I can't think of the name of it.
Little something.
Yes. I think that is it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
One of my favorite beers of all time. Well, one of my favorite beer names of all time came from them, and that was Wilco Tango Foxtrot.
Nice. That's great. I did some work for Webster University during the pandemic, and so I went and hung out with a couple of their main employees a couple times, and they all drank Lagunitas all the time. They would get pitchers and pitchers of Lagunitas, and I'm like, this is a good IPA. I could actually drink this. I don't say that a lot about IPAs. So my beer of the episode is the Love Gun from Heavy Riff Brewing, vanilla cream ale. I think I've had this on the show before.
Yep.
Very, very smooth. One of the most smooth beers I've ever had. It's funny because
how smooth is it?
It almost tastes like a cream soda. Mm-hmm. How smooth it is.
What are you supposed to say? It's so smooth.
It's so smooth that it almost tastes like a cream soda.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I don't like cream soda. So I don't know why I like this so much, but it's so good. It's very good.
Yeah, I like cream soda. Never buy it. Never get it ever. But I like it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that
Dr. Pepper cream soda, the one the partnership they did. I don't remember who it was, but they had a cream soda Dr. Pepper. And that wasn't terrible, but Dr. Pepper is just better by itself.
All right. My turn. Am I going last?
Yeah, sir.
All right. Well, since I am still not above the weather, I am under the weather. Still. Not bad. Cough. Phlegm. Feel weird. Throat feels weird. I'm doing the
Pumps on penis.
I'm doing the hot tea. No. Doing the hot tea. Oh my god, my flipping hand covering up the mug there. Hot tea in a blues mug. So it's a herbal tea. Like a wild berry herbal tea, something like that.
Yeah, it's for those of you wondering why we switched and I'm hosting tonight is because Kurt's having coughing fits and just can't seem to kick this one, huh? It's kind of crazy.
I don't think it's so much the cough. It's just I think if I did most of the talking or whatever, it would have my voice would be shot. So I'm happily handing it off to you tonight.
Yes, and I'll happily take it. One of these days we're gonna get Bill to do point.
That's going to be. I alluded to it last year. It's going to be the Ted Lasso episode, Beard After Dark. That's when I run point. It's going to be trippy.
I will love that. Actually, that sounds amazing. I that episode's okay, but seeing you run point and thinking of it in that style, I'm all for it. It's basically a dance party the whole time.
Yes. Which I don't dance, so it'll be entertaining to all.
It'll be something. Might be our best show, might be our worst show.
Yeah. Yeah, that was widely panned. A lot of people hated that episode when it aired, but that's by far my favorite of the entire run.
Oh wow, it's up there for me. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but Lead Tasso is still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a good episode. It's very underrated. So we will talk more Ted Lasso, I'm sure, at some point. But we've got a lot to talk about in the show. As I said, the Blues officially inducted its inaugural class into the new Blues Hall of Fame. We'll discuss that and more on the other side of this break from our friends at rockinThatIDLife.com. This is Let's Go Blues Radio. Every beer league hockey night, I grab my hockey bag and sticks and throw them in the trunk of my car. And the very next thing I do, I mix up a boost of energy courtesy of rockinThatIDLife.com. It's formulated to break up its delivery in 3 ways, which helps me get through all 3 periods of hockey. Phase 1 provides a rapid onset of energy, concentration, alertness, and motivation. By period 2, I'm receiving a dose of sustained energy, increased focus, metabolism, cognitive function, performance, and feelings of well-being, which I need with the way I play. In Phase 3, I'm getting fatigue protection without jitters and crash, an elevated mood, and a reduction of fluid retention to help me make the big play when it counts. This same triphasic approach helps me when I drink it during work hours or simply just for a pick-me-up when I need it. Try one of the 4 energy flavors by visiting rockinThatIDLife.com, but make sure to email Dustin at rockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order. That's rockinThatIDLife.com. So before we get into it here, Bill, wearing a very nice hoodie tonight.
Look at that. You with the beer in the
Oh,
pocket.
yes. Yes.
Using it as intended.
I did that. The first night I wore it. And it's funny because like I said, I got those, as I told you guys. It was like good 3 weeks before Christmas. And I was just, man, I want to wear this around. And I even wore it out one night. It's funny. I saw a listener of the show. I went and saw Violent Night with David Harbour playing Santa, and which was a great movie, by the way. But I saw a listener of the show. I believe his name was Joe out in Chesterfield, and he even commented. He's like, "Hey, that's a nice hoodie," and I'm like, I know you're not a commenter of the show. You listen to the podcast, but I'm like, for whatever reason, if you ever talk to Kurt and Bill, don't say a word. Like, this is their present. I should not be wearing it out right now, but I wanted to have a beer holder. Like, this is an awesome thing.
Very nice.
Austin Lynch, that's the perfect coaching hoodie.
It kind of is. Yeah,
it is.
Especially for beer league.
Right.
There you go.
And Chris Bray says, Joe Bray's videos says, I wish I could get a hoodie like that for Christmas.
Maybe, I wanted to kind of get your guys' gauge on it first. Maybe we'll offer it up to any listeners who might be interested in buying. I have no idea what I spent on them, so I'll have to look into that.
$400.
Yes. Each.
Jeff clearly broke the rules of the LGB radio gift exchange. Went way above and beyond.
I got to tell you, it was hard not telling you guys because I had this planned in October. Like, I got the mock-up in October, and I was like, those are amazing. And I wanted to tell you guys so bad, but I'm like, I can't say anything. It's got to be a surprise. And it was worth the wait. You guys seemed pretty impressed last week.
It was a surprise. And when Bill said reverse retro, I'm like, oh, it's a jersey. But I'm like, wait, it's not reverse retro because the jersey's blue.
Yeah, right.
But it's different colors. So, and then, oh no, it's a hoodie.
Yeah. Yep, I love it. I've worn mine around multiple times. Will Vladimir Tarasenko be back soon? Placed on the IR on January 2nd to be reevaluated in 4 weeks with a hand injury in the Minnesota game on December 31st. And of course, reevaluate, when you hear that, that usually means, okay, 4 weeks is the absolute minimum. Probably longer than that because reevaluated. So that means at least another week or two to get him back in game shape. Well, guess what? He's already skating. He's already pretty much looking like he might be ready to go. He's going to return, is what we're hearing, in the 7-game homestand. Right now, they just finished game 4 against Ottawa in this stand, so 3 left. And they believe he could even be available tomorrow against Nashville. So we all kind of laughed, even last week, I think, about him being selected to the All-Star team because we were like, he's not going to be ready. Well, if he comes back now, he very well could play in the All-Star game.
Yeah, that was interesting because the NHL said that he was going to be replaced. It was like a done deal. He will be replaced, which was I thought that was strange too.
They had to go off the original prognosis, is my guess.
Maybe
they didn't know.
Well, and yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I don't know. Him coming back early. You mentioned that he has to get back in game shape. I mean, it's a hand injury, so his legs can be back in shape and well before his hands. So and you know what, to be honest, with a hand injury, you can stick handle. I mean, you can't do contact drills until you're ready to go, but still, your legs should be okay.
You can still skate like the wind with a hand injury. You can do everything except shoot the puck, pass the puck. You can do pretty much everything.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and even then, even when his hand gets to the point where he can, do some light shooting, stick handling, stuff like that.
The only thing I question about him potentially bringing him back is tomorrow night is divisional game, and we're starting to get towards the stretch. Things might get a little bit heated, and Nashville could get a little slashy. I don't know if you want to take that risk for the first game back, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah. So the Blues inducted its inaugural class into the Blues Hall of Fame. This was on last Friday, January 13th. The induction took place at the Missouri Athletic Club. I'm a bad Blues fan. I did not watch this. It was streamed on Bally Sports app. Did you guys happen to catch any of this?
I was going to record it, and I forgot to record it because I wasn't home. So you can watch it through the Blues website, though. Right. Most of it. Yeah. Most of it.
I know that my brother watched, and he was just sending me texts that basically it was a Keenan laugh fest. That it was just Keenan joke after Keenan joke, which does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it, but yeah, I mean, it's a little bit surprising that they would go that far out of their way when they have Scotty Bowman in town. The one thing I did catch was during the game, the Lightning game, the great interview that he gave Andy Strickland, and just for him to be as sharp as he is at this point was great, and him recalling great stories from his time here. I absolutely love that. I usually skip over, go do something else during that kind of stuff, but love that.
Whenever you get Brett Hull talking about the past here, he's going to bring up Keenan. Keenan's going to be discussed. Brett Hull's in the room. Yeah, he can't say enough bad things about Keenan.
Oh, it's apparently Pronger too. I mean, the induction ceremony, the retirement, the jersey retirement. He made 3-4 Keenan jokes in the time he spoke. So yeah, I mean, for all the players in that era, yes, Hall definitely, because he's very outspoken. But you get any of those guys talking, and they will gladly talk shit on Mike Keenan.
Oh, Craig Janney had some not so nice things to say too. So
yeah,
not during the ceremony, but otherwise.
So in this class, sorry, Bill, do you have something to add?
Nope.
So the inaugural class included the retired numbers of, so all these players were automatically inducted. Bernie Federico, Bob Gassoff, Brett Hall, Al McInnes, Barclay Plager, Bob Plager, Chris Pronger, and Brian Sutter. And kind of included in that is Dan Kelly, radio voice for the Blues for so long. And then the Solomons also for bringing the Blues here to St. Louis were also kind of included in that, automatic inductees. Then they had a fan vote, which we discussed on this show. Red Berenson, Scotty Bowman, Glenn Hall, and Gary Unger were all voted in by the fans. They're going to do this every year like the Cardinals. You got to think, because the one that still stands out to me, and I know you guys agree, Pavel Demitra. I don't know. I think
what's a guy got to do to get into the Hall of Fame? I mean, he died in a plane crash. Come on.
And was an unbelievable player for this franchise.
Right.
I mean, yes, Igor Korolev, part of the Blues, died in that plane crash too, but nobody's talking about him because he wasn't Pavel Demitra.
Right.
That guy was a huge part of this organization for many years, not to mention one of the greatest steals in trades in history. So he's always going to be associated with the Blues.
Yep. No, I agree. We talked about that before. When the voting was going on, that it was like, hey, Demitra. I mean, Demitra had my vote.
I remember hearing. I remember Kerber was one of them. I want to say another one was maybe John Kelly, but actually maybe it was Jeremy Rutherford. As people asking them, "Who's your votes?" and neither of them said Pavel Demitra, and I was like, "Am I crazy here?" Like. That guy, he's in the top 10 in points for the Blues, right? In goals, and was prolific as hell. He's in that 2000 series with the Sharks. I'm sorry, the Blues win that series. Like, he was a prolific player.
Well loved. I mean, gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing to me, it just felt like the inaugural class was going to be what it was going to be. And, it was going to be all the canon names from the past, and Demitra was he was there for the McInnes and the Pronger era, but I think he had his career continued to be prolific after he left here. It felt kind of predetermined who was going to be in that inaugural class, and I was not surprised. I think he should have been, but I was not surprised that it was left out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like you said, I think it was a lot of looking at the names, knowing they're, some of these guys are NHL hockey Hall of Famers. He's a pretty big, just names from the past, like you said, the canon names. But still, I felt like, man, there's a way Demitra works his way in there, and it just didn't happen. Just shocking.
Next year, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
he's got to be second class. Not that he's second class, but second class in the Hall of Fame.
I think it's got to be a lock, right? The Dimitra's in next year. I mean, who else even jumps off the page at you? Grant Fuhr, maybe. But he had such a short time here.
Liut,
yeah.
Liut was my vote.
Oates.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, it wasn't here long enough. I mean, I'm as big Oates fan as anybody. Oates wasn't here long enough. 2+ seasons. That was it.
Yeah. Maybe Shanahan.
Yeah. Was here like 5 seasons, something like that? 6?
I hate to say it because it's still so fresh, but Quenneville has got to be considered.
Well, no.
Yeah, I think
his name was on the ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't. Not after what happened in Chicago with.
I agree.
No. I mean, I'm not a big cancel culture person necessarily, but that shit was bad.
Yeah, that was very
bad. That was real bad.
That's why I was surprised to even see his name on the ballot. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I can't believe they're even throwing him on there.
Well,
Matt Harris says Cujo. That's a good one.
yeah, but if there's a another Blues goalie besides Glenn Hall going on that list, I think it's got to be Liut.
It's got to be Liut.
Yeah, Liut for sure. So where is the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
That's my question, because with the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and we all know from our friend Joe over at Cardinals Nation, but if you're a Cardinals fan, there's an actual Cardinals Hall of Fame where you can go and check it out. Yeah, it's not Cooperstown, but it's a nice area where you can go check out, a lot of historic Cardinals stuff. And there isn't anything like that right now for the Blues, right?
So-
it's like just kind of like online and name
Right now
only.
it's
It's
virtual.
in the cloud.
It's a virtual thing. It's a yeah, and I would hope that they would have an area soon to honor all the inductees, right? Or inductees, any memorabilia they want to add into the Hall of Fame or something like that for people to walk through and look at stuff. I mean, they could have people donate things to put on display.
Yeah.
Like what the St. Louis Public Library did for a while.
Talk about a perfect place to put those original Blues jerseys we've talked about.
Yeah, there's nowhere.
When they say originals, we mean the ones that they never even played in, the sweaters that were in the newspaper.
Right. I would hope they would have something for that, but I mean, with this franchise, you never quite know what they're going to do. They do strange things sometimes, like the Wickenheiser banner was down for so long. Is it back up yet? It's not back up yet, is it?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, and they said it was coming back, or something was coming back, right? They mentioned it was coming back before the season started.
Yeah, it was going in the Blues for Kids area, right?
Okay, that's weird.
I don't know if it's maybe I just missed it. I don't know. Maybe it is.
I think you're right, but
correct us if you're wrong, guys. But yeah, I don't think I've seen it yet.
It's the weirdest thing. They take the banner down. It's not hurting anything up there. Leave it up there.
Yeah,
And
leave it up.
It's down for years.
Again, you hear the original audio. It will live in the rafters forever. And what? Forever was
A while.
15, 16 years.
A while.
Austin Lynch, I am deeply offended in you, son. Says, what about Blues legend and cocaine extraordinaire Patrick Berglund? You are mixing him up with Yori Laterra, son.
No,
that was Laterra.
No, he's
Berglund
thinking Jim
Berglund
Campbell.
was not well, him too. Yes.
Yeah.
No, Berglund was not a cocaine addict. He was the one that left Buffalo because he didn't want to play in Buffalo.
That we know of.
Well, we can say the same thing about you, Kurt.
Right.
You're not a cocaine addict, as far as we know.
Right, as far as we know. You can't make blanket statements unless you're sure.
Let's see. Another one that was added here, Winning Unlimited, says Jay Bouwmeester. I don't know if you guys will agree. I don't put Bouwmeester in there.
I don't either.
Unless you put in the entire 2019 team.
Right.
Then, yes, of course.
Petro goes before Jabo.
Yes. Steen goes before Jabo.
Yeah.
Steen was a hell of a Blue for a long time.
And I don't think Steen deserves to go. So, well, Steen's a tough. Now, I would not retire his number.
No.
But Hall of Fame, that's a good spot for Steen eventually, maybe.
I think it is.
A lot of
I'd
games,
say,
ton of games here. Yeah.
Have they said how many they're inducting each year? They're not going to do like 4 every year, are they? I think that's
so.
too many.
Maybe 1 or 2 every year.
1 or 2, I would think.
Maybe.
Yeah. And you have to think guys like Steen, like Barrett Jackman, right? That they're not, their jerseys aren't going to get retired. Well, Jackman, because he got to wear 5 before we finally said enough of that. But guys like that aren't NHL hockey, International Hockey Hall of Fame people, but Blues legends. Steen and Jackman are right there. Jackman deserves it just for winning Henrik Zetterberg's Calder Trophy.
I just put McInnes in there twice for that. Then
Austin Lynch, he's fighting for his comment here. Oh, okay, hold on.
So, what?
Start with this one. I thought Berglund got busted for coke. Austin said
no,
and then no, that was Laterra, that whole cocaine ring thing he had. And then he goes, my bad, I messed up assault and rape with coke.
Was he? He wasn't accused of that, was he?
I don't think so.
What other Blues fan forums are you trolling?
Yeah, are we?
Apart from
are we,
Let's Go Blues Radio or Let's Go Blues.com.
No.
Are we in a multiverse situation here?
No, Berglund was. He was accused of assault and rape.
After he left the Blues?
Back at like a couple years ago. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Let me look. Details.
I do not.
I forgot about
that at all.
Let's see. Here's a Reddit thread on it.
So you say accused? Was he ever convicted of anything?
I think we would know that.
Mm-hmm.
Against his girlfriend.
Because Laterra pretty much was.
Yeah.
Like he was at least involved.
Right.
But whatever happened with Laterra? He didn't face any time for that, did he?
I think he got probation.
Yeah, massive fine and probation.
Yeah, Austin just shared a link there. Yeah, maybe. Well,
Patrick,
okay.
Berglund denied all allegations. I actually don't know how that turned out. I forgot. I don't think he actually.
Well, we'll say allegedly assault and rape. We don't know for sure.
Accused of it.
Accused.
And it was a sick.
He was actually charged with it. So.
How do you have sex with an ostrich?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Blues grant a wish to hockey player Charlie, who was diagnosed with, I'm guessing it's Ewing sarcoma in 2018. Ewing sarcoma is a rare cancer that forms in the tissues around the bones. Back in that time, which is funny to think about, in 2018, Charlie wished to spend time with the Blues coaching staff and go behind the scenes during practice and game day. I read that in 2018. I was like, okay, when in 2018? Was this in the Mike Yeo era? Like, how interesting would it have been if he would have been granted that access then and then granted again so he could have compared and contrast his experiences? That would have been something. So his wish was granted this Wednesday and Thursday of last week. He joined Berube and staff in coaches' meetings, reviewed film, examined statistics and analytics, then sat in the locker room meeting with the team before practice. He even took the ice in real Blues goalie gear once practice ended. A lot of players stuck around and took shots, and apparently he did very well for being a non-NHL goalie. He was able to read the starting lineup against the Flames Thursday night. Once the game started, he joined Blues goalie coach David Alexander in the coach's box for the first period, then joined Kerber and Vitale on the call for the second period in 101.1 ESPN. Then he was interviewed by Andy Strickland on Bally Sports as well. So got a full day, basically spending it as a Blues coach / e-bug / fan / reporter. Got to experience the whole experience, and I love it. I love stories like this. This is really cool to see the Blues partake. I'm glad that, yes, it's a little bit of self-shame, self-promotion of the Blues to post the story and post on social media. Here's what Charlie's doing today. And yes, it's a little bit of that, but I love seeing it. I love seeing stories like this, and I love when organizations grant these kind of wishes.
I was checking something here. He's fine now, right? I mean, he's in remission or something.
I believe he's in remission. Yes. Okay. I didn't see anything official from the Blues, but I think that's what I heard.
I thought I saw that too. Yeah.
Which is great. So good for Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
So the Blues won their 2000th game in franchise history. And after this break from strikewithmike.com, we'll talk about that and more. So don't go anywhere, folks. During the magical 2019 playoff run, I was in the midst of buying my current home. Every time I spoke with my realtor, obviously, home buying was the discussion. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't stop thinking about what was destined to happen for our St. Louis hockey team. If only there were a realtor who could have walked me through the process, held my hand when needed, but was there to be a sounding board when I wanted to complain about a certain hand pass goal. Let realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage be that for you. He'll have your needs top of of mind as he skates you through the home buying or selling process, dangling you past any obstacles and assisting on all your home goals. Check out strikewithmike.com for more information or give him a call directly at 314-753-4060. That's Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage at strikewithmike.com, and that number again is 314-753-4060. Don't forget to tell Mike that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. So as we come back from break, I feel like something might be coming.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I wanted you to
Not
say
that.
something. I wanted you to say something because coming right out of commercial to that would have been kind of weird.
Well, that's what I was figuring you were going to do. And then when it shot back, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I need to talk.
Vamp until the
Yep, vamp.
PSA is done.
Man, how about that? We got 2 commercials in before we did that. That
Yeah.
doesn't ever happen.
Never.
Well, here's the bulk of the show, folks, because we're going to talk about the last couple Blues games here. Losses to Calgary and Tampa Bay on Thursday and Saturday before winning on Monday
Losses to
against
who?
the Ottawa Senators.
Losses to
What
who?
did I say?
You said
and
Calgary.
Tampa?
Yeah. You said Calgary.
They lost to
Yeah.
Calgary.
Yeah.
They did.
Is it Calgary?
It's Calgary.
I'm sorry.
Calgary.
Calgary.
There
Good
you
Lord.
go. There you go.
I'm like, I'm not crazy. That's who they played.
Calgary. They played Calgary.
Sorry.
Who's
Forgot, we gotta
Calgary?
Who's Calgary? Right.
Calgary, and Vancouver. We
Calgary,
gotta make sure we
that's-
say them correct.
That's so California. Calgary.
Yes, on LI.
Calgary. Calgary. That's Calgary from LA.
So Thursday was the loss against Calgary. This was the game that we just mentioned before break. Charlie was a part of the game and was able to read the lineup. So Grice was in net for this one. So if you remember our last show, coming off the 4-3 overtime win against the Flames, the back-to-back per se against the Flames at home, Bennington had a great game in that one. They put Grice in Thursday, which Calgary made a goaltending change as well, put in Dan Vladar. So 2 completely different goalies to face the 2 teams on Thursday. What do you guys think of this call for the Blues, putting Thomas Grice in?
I mean, it's a reward for how he played against Minnesota, right? So, I get it. I personally, I would not have, but I understand why they did it. I mean, Bennington played really well against Calgary in the previous game, got the win. I'm like, you're chasing Calgary. Go with your guy. But again, Grice had a hot hand against Minnesota, so they're hoping to ride off that. Didn't pan out. So it did early, right? I think it looked pretty good early, but then they kind of pulled away at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the squeaker between the legs from Coleman. I thought was really wish Benny. At that point, I thought that was the only time I really thought I wish Benny was in. But
yeah, for me, I would have, and I agree with you, Kurt. I think it was a reward for the game against Minnesota that he played so well. But to me, again, same as the conversation we had last week about Montreal and Minnesota back-to-back, I still stand by. I would have played Grice against Minnesota. I'm sorry, Grice against Montreal, Bennington against Minnesota.
Me too.
Same here. Even though Grice played well against Minnesota, and clearly people are going to say I'm wrong, I stand by it. That's what I would have done. And I would have done this kind of a similar thing here. Yeah, I think I get wanting to reward Grice, and I think you do that. But you're chasing Calgary again in the playoff stands. I think if you win this game, did they not tie them in the standings if you win this in regulation?
Yes.
So you play your guy. You put Bennington in, and if you want to give a reward to Grice, put him in against Tampa, the Eastern Conference team.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Same. And
So
you're I don't know if you're conceding a loss to Tampa Bay, right? I mean, because Tampa's just very, very good, and it's like, well, we'll give Bennington the night off against a really good team, and from the East, so we're not, if we, them getting 2 points doesn't affect us any. So,
yep, I agree. I know, Bill, you mentioned the squeaker goal, but in this game, 36 saves for Grice. He played well. Maybe, again, he gives up that week one late, but still a good game overall. He did have a shutout streak snapped of 155 minutes and 43 seconds after the Flames scored their first goal. But in this game, Jake Neighbors scored 20 seconds into the third period to tie it at 1. It was a really weird broken play. He ends up firing it from the right faceoff circle. It was only the second goal of the year for Neighbors in the NHL. Keep in mind, he's been in the AHL a lot this year, and his first since game 1 against Columbus. So nice to see him get on the board again.
It's a great goal.
Yeah,
It was.
Great goal.
Great pass right down the middle, and great first touch to accept it. Yeah, loved it. Had a really good feeling about this game at that point.
Yeah.
But then,
Yep. No, so a couple bad goals in a row, and it was and this is a theme we're going to mention here with the next 3 games. Goal from Devin. Is it Devin Dubé? Is it Devin?
no.
What is it? It's
No.
oh shit! I should put his
What's his
full name in here.
Or just don't worry about it.
Yeah, or just call him Dubé. Dubé scores and as the go-ahead goal, which became the game-winning goal. Terrible send out from Rob Thomas. Hits Lindholm right to Dubé, beats Grice, and
Dylan
then
Dubé.
Dylan. That's it. I knew it was another D name.
Double D.
And then Bill, you mentioned the other bad turnover. Even though it was not a strong goal, it was still a bad turnover by the Blues behind the net. They had pressures in Calgary zone, and then Falk goes to throw it on the boards, but just misplays it. Goes right to the tape of Coleman, who spins and backhands it through the legs of Grice. Bad goal on Grice, but still bad turnover by the Blues.
Right, and so uncharacteristic of Justin Falk this season. He's been just so reliable, and I think that split second of lack of focus and Calgary capitalized.
You say that, I feel like Falk has had a bad week.
He's had a bad last couple
good.
weeks. He's kind of struggling. I don't know if they're overplaying him. He's tired, but he's not looked like himself the past 2-3 weeks.
He got the horseshit bug from Parayko.
Well, then why does Parayko still have it?
Because it's contagious.
Oh, that's what it is.
It took
It's not a
contagious
pass-off
to paint my house.
situation.
That's a good joke.
It's a great joke.
So Buchnevich's 6-game point streak in this game was snapped. He had 2 goals and 7 assists in that time. This was the game, I believe, he got a nice breakaway pass, but Vladar, who had a great game, stopped him and unfortunately snapped the streak. So Saturday, Blues come in against the Tampa Bay Lightning again. The Hall of Fame induction was the Friday night before this. So in this game, it was their first game after the induction. All the living inductees dropped the puck at center, and it was between Braden Shen, since Ryan O'Reilly is still injured, and St. Louis legend Pat Maroon was able to partake in this as well with Tampa Bay, which I thought was pretty cool. I did enjoy seeing St. Louis and be able to jump in there, and that's going to be a historic photo. We'll probably see, hopefully, if they ever do have a living Hall of Fame you can go visit, you got to hope that this picture is going to be showing in there.
Oh, sure. For sure.
Yeah. Also, another important note with this game, the Blues had officially played in more games at this point at the Kiel/Savis/Scottrade/Enterprise Center than the St. Louis Arena. So their record at the Enterprise Center in 1,072 games, 594 wins, 348 losses, 50 ties, 79 overtime losses. In St. Louis Arena, 1,071 games played, 559, 344, and 168 ties. Clearly, they did not have overtime losses back when they were playing there. Points for each: Enterprise, 1,319, and then St. Louis Arena, 1,286. Pretty consistent, actually, all the way through. pretty impressive.
Yeah, I guess they're if you take away the overtime loss points, right? In Enterprise, that'd be more indicative of, they looks like they have more points at the arena than at Enterprise, which is shocking to me. I wouldn't think I mean, if you take away overtime OTLs, right?
Yeah, let me do the math here. Let me figure this out.
Well, there's 79 OTLs at Enterprise, and we're only there's only about what 14.
You're right. So St. Louis Arena has 1286 in terms of points.
Yep.
Enterprise without the OTLs would be at 1240.
Yeah.
So they would have just more at St. Louis Arena.
And that shocks me because there were a lot of lean years at the arena, and I mean they made the playoffs some years when they were under 500. So they were better later and better in the early 80s. But yeah, as far as like great records go, I mean, I would have guessed for sure more points at the new building.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that my first hockey experiences were at the old barn, and so I can never think that we could have surpassed how long they played there, because that's my history.
Right.
Yeah,
but it makes me feel like this is one of those things. It's like, yeah, I am definitely fucking old now.
Yep. Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I actually think it was Austin when I first really started talking to Austin Lynch, friend of the show here. I asked him what his first game was, and I remember he told me it was like, 2003. He saw Chris Pronger play. I actually don't think it was that early. I think it was later than that. I think it was like Eric Brewer era. And I remember thinking, oh my God, that was your first game. Not only
That's funny.
was post President's Trophy, but it was post Chris Pronger, Al McInnes, post even knowing what the St. Louis Arena is. He was born after the St. Louis Arena. So that was one of those moments that's like, holy shit, man, that's crazy.
I feel bad for anybody that did not get to experience the arena.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad that I got to see a ton of games there. There's such a, I mean, the old buildings that you will never, unless you go to some podunk town with a junior team or something that plays in an old barn like that, the NHL doesn't have arenas like that anymore. And it was so unique. Walk in and you get, this musty, stale beer, old popcorn smell.
Yep. The water stained sheets over the rafters, and the sitting in the sitting on the ends. Yeah, smoke before they finally outlawed it.
Yep.
But sitting on the upper deck ends where it's
the gondolas.
Right, there are gondolas and
Suspended,
it's swayed.
Yeah,
right?
because they were suspended by cables.
Right,
you were attached by cables as to the roof, and you'd sway.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's amazing more people didn't fall to their death in that building.
There was a spiral staircase going to, I don't know if it was on both ends, but one end of the spiral staircase was goofy.
I think it was just one end.
Yeah, but it's nothing like it though. Nothing like it.
Nope.
Oh,
it was great.
Yeah, I never went to Chicago Stadium, but I've heard stories of their old arena and how fucking nuts that place was.
That the old Chicago Stadium was loud, the arena was loud, and they're both in the North Division too, and it was fantastic. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a shame I never got to go to Joe. Did you guys ever get to go to the Joe Louis Arena?
I did not.
Stood on the steps outside. That's as close as I got. Visited there.
Yep.
As I've told the story many times, I was on my way to Detroit when I learned about the Chris Pronger, Brendan Shanahan trade. So,
okay.
Yeah, but that trip, it was in the middle of the summer, and we went and stood on the steps outside the Joe, but didn't get to go in.
My favorite, again, I know I've told this before, that I've got a book actually given to me by STL Blues History about the old Oakland Seals, California Seals, whatever you want to call them, and how their first couple games were played at the Cow Palace. And
no, that was the San Jose Sharks. They played at the Cow Palace.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Golden Seals played there a lot then. But the stories of that arena are just fucking hilarious. Just reading about how these, they had cow shows at this place. Players would show up to the arena and they'd still be cleaning up cow shit. And it's just mind-boggling. That's how the fucking world used to work for hockey arenas.
That's crazy.
So I got a question for you guys, and if you know what, don't answer. Let's see if anybody in the chat will get it. No, I want to.
I got a question for you guys. Don't answer.
No, there's a delay. So let's give it a little bit. See if anybody in the chat will get it first. But if you guys have an answer, hold on to it for a little bit. We'll come back to it. In what arena do the Blues have the next amount of games played as well as the most points? So clearly, number 1 is the Enterprise Center. Number 2 is St. Louis Arena. In their history, where have they played the most games next and also have accrued the most points?
It's the same arena?
I'm sorry?
It's the same arena?
Yes, it is the same arena. So one arena, they've played the third amount of games played and have accrued the third amount of points. I'll let you guys think on that. Like I said, I kind of want to get some answers from the crowd before we get into it. So let's just kind of move on and talk a little bit about this game. Binnington goes back in net, makes 26 saves in this game. Nick Leddy returned and had 20 minutes of ice time. Exactly, which I was like, okay, that can't be right. But exactly 20 minutes. After missing 4 games with an upper body injury. With the Blues losing this game, they go to 1-2-0 on the current 7-game homestand. And so getting into this game, Pitlick scores on a breakaway to put the Blues up 1-0. He took it on the backhand, spins to his forehand, and beats Vasilevsky along the ice between the legs. So Darren Payne said this, and I actually agreed with him, but I saw some people on social media saying absolutely not. Do you think he whiffed? He whiffed on this shot, right? He didn't mean to put it there.
On which one? Sorry, I was researching.
Pitlick. Pitlick's
Pitlick.
opening goal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he whiffed. He whiffed.
It looked like it went off like the heel of his stick. Like he didn't mean to shoot it there, but that's where he did. And I think that's why Vasilevsky missed it because he couldn't read it.
Absolutely. He could not pick that puck up. He was reacting to where the stick was going.
Right.
And it just, yeah.
It
was like in golf, you topped it.
That was funny. Yep. Pang's like, boy, if he tried to do that, that was impressive. We'll have to find out. I'm like, no. I don't know. You played. Come on, Pang. You played. You know he didn't. Come on.
That was a whiff for sure.
He knows better.
Yeah. So the Lightning tied early. It was another behind the net turnover. Levo this time had some slight pressure from Kucherov. Tried to go to Achari, but it was too soft. Achari couldn't read the pinch coming from defenseman Perbix, and picks it off, slides it to the waiting point in the slot. And then again, you guys will not believe this, but there was another behind the net turnover that led to a 2-1 Lightning lead. While on the PK, Mikkola pinches point off the puck to a waiting Falk, who lackadaisically holds the puck with 2 Lightning converging. He lost it to Kucherov, who slides it to Stamkos, who finds point on the back door. And again, surprise, surprise, a backdoor goal on the Blues, and it's a 2-1 lead. Just again, atrocious puck control on all these goals that we have mentioned tonight against Calgary and Tampa Bay to this point. Got to be better. The thing that annoys me about this the most, when the Blues defend poorly, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not shocked. That's okay. That's this team, even though they're high-priced. I think even Armstrong knew this is not going to be a good defending team. But a puck management team is what this team is supposed to be. And they are not managing the puck. And I know there's injuries. Don't get me wrong. I get that. But they are not managing the puck in their own zone well at all at this point. And it is so frustrating to watch because that is literally what we were told this defense could do.
Yeah. No, I mean, and sloppy play in our own zone is going to be the downfall of this team, if anything is. The downfall of this team is not going to be goaltending. It's not going to be goal scoring. It's going to be own zone play. It's just sloppy. There's turnover after turnover. There's missed assignments. The gap closure sucks. And I don't think teams are afraid of the Blues at all in our zone. So that needs an overhaul.
They get a little pressure and they just cough the puck up.
Yep. And I was going to say, guys, I'm starting to worry that other teams have a book on us at this point. It's seriously, I confused some of the goals between these two games because they're, the descriptions are so similar. It's, it's rinse, repeat. It's disgusting at this point in the season. You should be playing a more consistent game of hockey, and they just can't do it.
Well, and I mentioned like on the last goal, this was on the power play, by the way, for the Lightning. I mentioned that there was a good defensive play by Nico Mikkola. He pinches off Braden Point, one of the best players in the league, pinches him off right there into the boards, takes him, drives him in there, leaves the puck there for Falk, and he just coughs it up. And it's like, dude, this is the Tampa Bay fucking Lightning right here. These guys know how to move the puck on the power play. The minute you see that puck come loose, you got to fire that out of your zone on the PK. And there's just none of that right now. Perbix scored in the second for a 2-goal lead for Tampa. Slapper from the point off a face-off win. Binnington stopped it, but it bounced in the air, rolls past him. Thought this was a pretty weak. Talking about Jordan Binnington, and everybody, I know we've gotten shit before from people saying that we're Binnington apologists, which is ridiculous. There's nothing to apologize for. I know you guys agree. But this was one I think probably could have had. Bill, what do you think? I mean, this is one that it looked like he either misread it, he thought he was going to get it with the blocker and knock it to the corner. Did not play that one well.
It's something, maybe a momentary lapse of concentration. It didn't have the presence of mind in that second as the puck gets to him. It's difficult, but it's something he should have had to have the blocker angled to deaden the puck. And instead it just skips up over him. And, every once in a while, even the best goalies are going to give up a shit goal. But yeah, that's one that was probably top 3 weak goals that he's given up this season.
Yeah. I soft goal, easy soft goal. No question. Should have had it, and he knows it. And like Bill said, it is what it is. Every once in a while, goalies give up goals like these. Happens to everybody once in a while, and you move on. And thankfully, that this kind of goal has not gone in on him much at all this season.
No, it's an isolated incident. He's, again, talk to us, talk to anyone who watches the team, who's educated in hockey. Sorry. Let's tell you he's had a great season. But yeah, you're not going to stop everything. This was a weak one. Like you said, Kurt, you move on, you play the game, hope your team can bail you out. Unfortunately, they couldn't. Pavel Buchnevich scored off the rush to make it 3-2, and then a misplay behind the net just over a minute on the clock in the second led to Killorn in front, kind of scoring a tap-in goal off a great pass from Brandon Hagel. So the Blues lose this one. Still, at this point, we're looking for that 2,000th win. We heard about this, I think, after the Calgary game. Media kind of started talking about, hey, the next win, Blues are going to be at 2,000 wins. That's a huge deal, right? And it just was at this point like, okay, great. Here comes another 8-game losing streak. So the Blues did get that elusive 2,000th win on Monday in a 2-1 victory over the Ottawa Senators. They are the 8th team and second non-original 6 club to reach 2,000 wins, only behind Philadelphia, which anybody who knows anything about the NHL knows how good those teams were in the 70s. So they raked up a lot of wins in those years. Their all-time record, the Blues, 2,000, 1,687, 432, those are ties, and 181 overtime losses. Win number 2,000 came in exactly 4,300 games played. Since the inaugural season in 1967-68, the Blues' 2,000 wins are 5th most in NHL history, trailing only Boston, Montreal, Philadelphia, and the New York Rangers. They have more wins in that time than Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh and Toronto. Very impressive, actually, when you look at some of these teams that they have jumped ahead since they came into the league.
432 ties. I think it was Unger during the Hall of Fame stuff said he prefers the current format, getting a win over as opposed to a game ending in a tie. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I back when ties were a thing, I hated the ties. I was like, I sat and watched and nothing was determined. 432 times that happened, ties. That's just, I mean, man, that's a lot of games where nobody wins.
How many of those?
It's a lot of kissing sisters.
A lot of kissing sisters. A lot of sisters to kiss.
I think there's a special spot on that in the internet for people. How many of those ties do you think you saw, Kurt?
Well, God, however many ties were when I started watching like religiously every game. That's probably how many ties I saw. That was probably back in the mid '80s, late '80s. I started watching every game religiously. So whatever, between 88 and say now. Well, I wouldn't really stop doing ties.
Yeah.
2000. What was that?
2004, 2005, I believe, was when they introduced
out of the lockout,
the OTL. Yep.
Yeah.
So before we get into this, I will answer the question that I posed. We had a couple people.
Wait, can we not guess?
Oh yeah. I was gonna read
gosh.
some of the other people here. So Matt Harris says the Climate Pledge Arena, which I hope you're kidding.
It's an old building. It's a real old building.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry.
Sprint Center in Kansas City, Austin.
I think he's messing around there too.
Madison Square Garden is really old, but I don't know if the Blues played there enough.
So Jason Miller says Maple Leaf Gardens. That's a very good one too. So fellas, let's get to you two. What do you think?
I'm gonna say, you know what, Madison Square Garden's a lot older, but I'm gonna say Saddle Dome since Calgary's been in our conference longer, and the Saddle Dome's old.
Okay,
Saddle Dome was built for the '88 Olympics.
Yeah,
it's the oldest. It's the oldest building in the league right now. I'm gonna go with the building that you called out earlier in say Chicago Stadium.
We got Lenny Unlimited also saying Blackhawks Arena. So yeah, I think he's meaning the Chicago Stadium as well, not United Center. Ken Morris says the Shark Tank. Good guess. But here's the answer, folks. It is actually one that nobody said. It was the Joe Louis Arena. So at the old
sense.
Joe, which is where the Detroit Red Wings were housed until just a couple years ago.
Right.
They played 111 games there. They were 41, 54, 12, and 4 in that time for 98 points.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Didn't think of it.
You got to remember that the Red Wings were shit in the 80s for anybody who may not know that.
70s and 80s, right?
70s and at least late 70s for sure. Yeah.
They were giving away they give away cars at games to try and get people to come in and watch games, and they couldn't fill the stadium that way, giving away cars.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was it's an interesting. Yeah, I mean the Joe was an interesting arena. Like I said, that's one I always wish that I would have attended a game, and I wanted that last year. I almost went, but decided being able to pay my bills was probably more important. But
kid and all that stuff.
Yeah, it ruined everything. Terrible.
Stupid adulting.
So in this game versus Ottawa, or Ottawa, as some call them, Binnington was in net. Nikita Alexandrov was out with an undisclosed injury. Nathan Walker was inserted on the and by the way, for those that may not have seen, apparently Alexandrov's fine and he'll be back Thursday night against Nashville. So we'll see. I thought this was the old St. Louis Blues news crew
from Cape Core 72. I'd be curious. I don't know who that. I assume they're talking about the forum. I don't know who that. I don't recognize that username.
Yeah.
Who were you on the forum? Cape Core 72.
Yeah. So Bennington back in net this night for this game against the Senators. It was a good fast-paced game with I thought some pretty good goaltending on both sides. No, clearly we'll talk about a mistake Cam Talbot made in this game, but other than that, I thought he played a very solid game, and we'll talk about Jordan Bennington too. Played a very good game, especially late, and I know even Craig Berube had some nice comments about him after the game. So in this game, Jake Neighbors gets back on the board and gives the Blues the 1-0 lead. Callie Rosen skates along the boards into the offensive zone during a Sens line change and whips it in front to a waiting Neighbors, who's tied up well by Travis Hamonic, but uses his strength to tip the hard pass through Talbot. So very nice heads-up play, I thought, by Rosen on this one. And then Neighbors doing what apparently he is learning to do in the NHL, get your ass to the net and good things will happen.
Right. The point was made during the game, not on Twitter, at least, not what you want Jake Neighbors like long-term to be the guy to do is go to the front of the net. But man, that was super effective. And he got the Darren Pang seal of approval with, being strong on his stick, not letting it get knocked away. Great play, both by Rosen and Neighbors. Loved that goal.
A little seeing eye puck too, right? Right through the pads.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a little puck luck there. So I don't think he meant to put it there, but whatever works.
He went hard to the net, Kurt. Hockey cliche.
Right.
That's right.
Good things happen, right? Go to the net.
Right. And he said that after the game, go to the net, go hard to the net. It's cliche, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, for a young kid, you just want to make sure he has that confidence, that swagger. So, yeah, go to the net. Good things are going to happen. He's a big, strong kid. Clearly, I mean, he out-muscles Hamonic here, an NHL veteran who's a very good defensive player. And he, just out-muscles him, gets a stick on the ice, does the right thing. Rosen hits him right on the tape, and 1-0 Blues. Just a beautiful play by the Blues. And again, good heads-up play by Rosen. Love the way he just knew I'm just going to skate this in, hope somebody drives the net, and I'm going to get it there. And it was just a nice play overall. Nola Chari puts the Blues up 2-0 after the Sens lose the puck in the neutral zone. Cam Talbot steps out to play it, but mishandles it. Chari's there to poke it in and frustrate the hell out of Senators fans, as I saw on Twitter, which was fun. But man, so in this play, I mean, Talbot's not a puck mover. He's not known for his stick handling ability, but man, he just off the heel. I mean, man, he did not play that well.
Shit happens, right? And it makes you appreciate Bennington for how well he plays the puck. It might be
right.
It may have been mentioned on the broadcast, or that I kind of agree with. It might be the best puck handling goalie in the league. So, if not the best, one of. So,
yeah, he's definitely up there. And yeah, it's one of those plays that, if you're Talbot, you're out thinking yourself. I think it's you either just covered up and maybe take a penalty for delay of game, but you don't try to shoot it back up the middle with somebody charging down the middle. It's got to go to the side, or you got to get on top of it.
Throw it in the corner at the very least. Like, don't just. Oh, that was terrible. That's a play where Coach Ponder would have been like, "Get out." I would have lost my mind. So Jake Neighbors ain't done, but he's not scoring goals. He's dropping them down. He gets in a fight with Kelly, kicks his ass about 2 minutes into the second period.
Yeah.
He early on, he laid one solid hit, and I think that did him in. And just were you guys not doing the same thing after this fight too? Like, okay, now get him an assist. Let's get him an assist.
Oh,
we need that Gordie Howe hat trick.
Right. It was all in the first period. So it's like this has to happen. This is
Yeah. Hey man, I wish fighting would be a thing again. It was so much fun. People love it. I don't know.
Yep. And again, we said this at when fighting was a little more prevalent in the NHL when we're doing this show. The concussions, all those issues, it's not mostly from fighting, it's from hits to the head. Like
Oh yeah.
the cheap shit they're trying to get rid of in the NHL. Fighting doesn't cause that as much. The NHL fights last at most of them 15 seconds, and it's a couple shots to the head, nothing crazy. Like it's the dirty hits that needed to be taken out of the NHL game, which they've done, but
Well,
along with that when fighting.
remember when Shanahan was the Department of Player Safety guy, and he advocated against to kind of reduce fighting because he said someone's going to get killed out there because guys are getting trained MMA style.
Right. Well, that was the era of George LaRock, and the guys who were trying to make sure that they still had a place on the team, and it was just unspoken. You're going against whatever. If the other team has a goon like you, you're gonna go. Right. It was a different era. Not like the Chuck Norris division days when you had to have an enforcer because the Red Wings had Bob Probert, right? You had to have somebody in there. And those days, like guys like Probert and guys like Gino Ojic, who I think we'll mention hopefully at the end of the show, they had a role and they knew what it was. I'm not trying to glorify the fighting back then, but it was different from that era. That where Shanahan wanted to minimize it.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. But I long for the days of the 80s, early 90s fighting. Those were fun. Good times.
Yeah, and did you guys see his quote after the fight or after the game? He said that basically he had never fought Parker Kelly before, but he'd seen him in juniors, I think, juniors of the AHL, and he wasn't fond of him. I thought that was a great response.
Hilarious.
The Senators then got on the board after a shoot-in sees Binnington slow it down for Falk. And guys, guess what? He mishandles it. It goes right off Batherson's skate, who finds I almost said Brady Tkachuk, who slams it in front to Stützle, who one times it past Binnington from the slot. Again, I think this is one Binnington doesn't really have a huge chance on. I think Binnington played it well behind the net. I mean, it was a hard dump in, and teams know now they have to shoot it in hard and try and get it past Binnington. Otherwise, he's going to play it right back up. So he slows it down for Falk, and I just feel like, I don't know, Falk didn't know if Batherson was there or if he was trying to get it past him. But just some of this was a good play by Ottawa, reading the play, knowing where guys should be. Brady Tkachuk is one hell of a forechecker, so I'll give them credit here too. But I thought just a weird play that the Blues really, and again, Stützle wide open in front, was not covered, and no chance for Binnington on this.
That's got to be a very difficult puck for a goalie to stop when the puck comes from that area of ice behind the unread line out to a guy who's open in front who one times it. So as a goalie, you got to recognize, okay, the puck's coming out here, and oh crap, I got to come out real quick to cut down the angle if I can, and it's coming back so fast. There's a lot to process in a short amount of time for a goalie. You just hope it hits you. Basically, just you try and slide out and play big, I guess. But if a shooter picks a spot or hits a spot, I mean, you're kind of screwed.
Right. It's total advantage to the shooter because they have the view of the net. They know where Binnington's coming. They know where the goalie is coming from. They know what's probably going to be open. And as long as they get the shot away quick, goalie usually doesn't have a chance.
Binnington in this game, so it's 2-1 at this point. Late in the game, and Binnington's already playing a pretty solid game. He makes two massive saves in this game late, both off Claude Giroux. So with about 8 minutes left, DeBrincat slid the puck in front to Claude Giroux, who directs it with his body to the net, goes down on one knee, and kind of just lets it hit off him because it was in so tight. But Binnington seals the crease and covers it, and just a very nice save, very quick response by Binnington to close the legs, make sure the puck's under him, and not let that puck slide between them. He makes another big save off Giroux, this time with about 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Alex DeBrincat finds Giroux again, this time streaking into the slot with Barbashev trailing as he was coming off the boards. He lifts a backhander that, looked like it was pretty much bar down if it would have hit. But Binnington just gloves it, seals the puck, doesn't let it rebound, read the play perfectly. And again, Blues get a big 2-1 win here. And again, you can't say enough how important those two big saves by Binnington were at the end to keep the Blues not only in the lead but able to pull this one out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I was happy with the way the Blues played in this game necessarily. But you get, it's a win. So coming off 2 losses, I don't care how they play. Just get the win. You needed this win. You're playing Nashville coming up next. What's the standings look like here? I had them up here for a second. We are 1 point behind Nashville with 1 more game played. So it's a big game tomorrow. You did not want to be 3 points down in Nashville. So, every point counts this time of year. So, and they need to get on a roll soon. They've kind of like they're winning a couple, losing one, winning a couple, losing one. But they got to make up some ground. So,
well, at this point too, Ottawa is basically in a battle themselves. They're right about where the Blues are. I think they're a little bit under 500. They just won tonight, I saw, but they're battling too, and so they're expecting points here. They want at least a point with a struggling Blues team. And for the Blues able to pull out of this game again with a regulation win, not give Ottawa anything, even though that doesn't pertain to the Blues playoff race, but still an important 2 points to get in regulation, hold on to the win, not give up the lead. And again, solid goaltending.
Yeah.
I thought pretty good defense against a very good Senators offense. So, they had the 1 lapse, I think, on the first goal, but other than that, I had no problem with the way they played.
I was just happy to see. It was just nice to see Binnington play well again. I just because if you're gonna make a run, make a push, you got to have the goaltending, and they've had it, so you don't want to lose it. Right? And it's just funny to see. It's funny to for some reason, Binnington's been a polarizing figure on social media, whether he sucks or whether he doesn't, whether you're a advanced stats guru or whether you're watching the games or whatever. It's just nice to see him play well again and just say, okay, well, 1 goal against. You can't complain about that, I guess. So.
No, and it's a game. You don't want this to be the game that your goalie has to steal for you, but it was the game that the goalie stole for us, right? Those Ottawa, the 2 Giroux chances Jeff talked about, totally could have gone to a 3-2 Ottawa victory, right? Ottawa was hungry coming off of a just ass kicking by the Avalanche, 7-0. And look what they did tonight, back-to-back nights and traveling St. Louis to Pittsburgh. They go into Pittsburgh and Brady Tkachuk gets the overtime winner for a 4-3 win. That's a gutsy performance. That's a really good team. I thought the Blues had chances to extend the lead, and Ottawa just kind of took over control of the play. But our goaltending and defense held up, and big 2 points. You drop those 2 points, and we're 3-game losing streak. That feels completely different.
Yep.
So we will talk a little bit more. Actually, first we'll just say coming up for the Blues Thursday night against Nashville. This is a very big game for the St. Louis Blues, a division rival. Kurt, you said you've got the standings up, right?
Yeah.
I know they're very close, within a point or two of the Blues, right?
The Blues are at 1 point behind Nashville with one more game played.
So this would be a huge swing game for the Blues to go up on them. So you expect hopefully a solid effort. Maybe we see a Vladimir Tarasenko return, but a good, the Blues have seen some non-divisional games, even recently, some Eastern Conference foes. Good to see a good division battle here with the Nashville Predators, and hope for the Blues can shove it to UC Saros, which they did plenty of last year.
Also, with a win on Thursday against Nashville, the Blues will be 500 at home. So it'd be nice.
That would be nice
to 500 at home. Yeah.
Yep.
How bad is that?
I know.
Let's just get to 500 at home.
It's awful.
It's nuts. Never thought we'd say that with this team.
Nope.
Most wins, second most wins. Let's see. Out of teams, wild card teams and other teams out of the playoffs. The Blues have the second most road wins. Edmonton has 14. The Blues have 13. So,
yeah, they can just figure it out at home. They'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'd say, I think, was it 4 or 5 of those losses in that 8-game losing streak? Were those not at home? I can't talk. 4 or 5 of those were at home, were they not?
I think I can check. I don't know. I assume so.
I'm blacking that part of the season out.
I wish we all could. Wish the NHL would. Well, there's quite the uproar over a Philadelphia Flyers defenseman making a choice to refrain from participating in Pride Night. We'll discuss that and more after this word from our friends over at Center Ice Brewery.
Do you like hockey? Of course you do. Do you like beer? Of course you do. Are you 21? Let's hope so. If you answered yes to all of those questions, run on down to your local beer distributor and pick up a 2-4 of Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, or any other delicious hockey-themed beer from Center Ice Brewery. That's right, Center Ice Brewery beer is available at various beer stores around town, so check around for the one closest to you. That's Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues!
Four of those 8 games were at home.
So half and half. Okay. You know what the worst part about that is that there wasn't even an overtime loss in there.
No.
All regulation losses.
Not a single point.
Oh, so bad.
And I mean, it was bad. I know there was a few games where they played well enough to win, just didn't. But yeah, for the most part, it was just bad hockey. Bad hockey.
Yeah, it was. Looks like Bill has stepped away for a minute. So, Kurt, if you wouldn't mind keeping your eye on his screen to see when he comes back so we can pop him back up here. So we'll go ahead and get talking. I know Bill knows plenty of the story. I don't need to fill him in on anything. So we'll go ahead and start talking about Ivan Provorov. He is the Flyers defenseman, and he recently refrained from participating in the Flyers pregame skate on Tuesday, citing, quote, religious beliefs, since the Flyers were hosting a Pride Night, and they were wearing Pride jerseys for the pregame warm-up, which also I did find out later, most teams do this. They actually auction those jerseys off after the game as well, to help with LGBTQ in the area, community organizations.
So he did cost them some money.
Yes, he did. So that jersey's made, right? I wonder, like,
oh yeah, it's made. Sure.
Did they just trash it? Like, what do they do with that jersey?
I'm sure Provorov doesn't want it.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so where does it go?
I don't know.
They got to just trash it because you don't want that resurfacing anywhere.
Got me. I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. So again, he did not participate in warm-ups. He played in the game against Anaheim that night, though, so he did not participate in the pregame, but did come out for the skate. And it's funny because I was actually kind of watching this unfold unknowingly. I was just happened to be on Twitter, and actually a friend of the show, Russ Joy, of, I'm gonna Snow the Goalie podcast, who reports on the Philadelphia Flyers. He was posting that Ivan Provorov is not ill, is not injured, and he is not on the ice for pregame. And so, of course, his timeline is just flooded with, trade. He's traded. There's a trade. And he said, honestly, there's no buzz of a trade. I don't think that's it either. I have no idea what's going on. And then you find out the rumors that start coming in during the game is, this is kind of what's happening. We'll find out after the game, but this is what we're hearing. And it was just kind of weird. Like I said, I didn't know I was watching this transpire in front of my eyes, but I was. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a top news story if this is the case. And it was. So he plays in the game. Not only does he play in it, he plays in a game high 22 minutes and 45 seconds. That's the high for both teams. And after the game, let's read his quote first. And I know there's a lot to process here. I'm not going to read through all this because I know you guys are going to have comments for this, but I'll just go ahead and read the quotes from Provorov and his head coach. Provorov said, quote, "I respect everybody and respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion." So he was basically quoting that, saying that his religious beliefs do not allow him to participate in Pride Night. John Tortorella added, quote, "He's being true to himself and his religion. This has to do with his beliefs and his religion. It's one thing I respect about him. He's always true to himself." Quote.
Tortorella also said that he didn't consider benching Provorov over this decision, right? So, which is an interesting change of pace from Tortorella when he said, it was a few years ago, that he'd bench anyone who kneeled during the anthem. So wouldn't kneeling be being true to yourself as well? I mean, what's the difference here?
And that's, again, not to get too much into the weeds with just awful Twitter conversations I've had over the past 24 hours.
Me too.
But one of the things that I said was, basically it's okay to some people. It's okay to cite religious beliefs and say, basically, I don't want to participate in anything that has to do with the LGBTQ community. But it is not okay to protest discrimination, bigotry, police brutality against a certain race, certain skin color, skin tone. That's not okay. I don't understand that. And people were calling me a hypocrite. And I'm like, how am I being a hypocrite? Like, if you're going to support him doing that, then how are you against somebody who's doing the exact same thing? Obviously it's okay. It's not exact, but it doesn't make sense to me that you can support one and not the other.
You're being according to Tortorella, you're being true to yourself.
Narrative.
You're being true to yourself either way, and Tortorella's son, I believe, is in the military. So, it with Tortorella personally, it could be something where if you don't, if you kneel during the anthem, you're disrespecting the flag, which I disagree with that whole narrative, but that's neither here nor there. That may be his take on it. So maybe that's where he stands there. But, in this case in particular, I bet Tortorella is ambivalent. He doesn't care. And he's like, he can do what he wants to do. As long as it's not, disrespecting the flag, I'm sure he can just do what he wants to do.
Can you imagine? And I know this has been kind of talked about. I'm not talking about military appreciation. I'm talking about police appreciation. We've seen police appreciation in like, especially like New York, Philadelphia. I've seen them like come out with like, again, New York come out with like NYPD jerseys before for warmups. Can you imagine if a player sat back and said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't support that"? Imagine the backlash he'd get for that.
Yeah.
But somehow this is totally different.
He's being true to himself, Jeff. It's okay.
Right.
He's being true to himself.
But if you're doing it for
whatever
another
the fuck
cause,
that means,
it's not being true to yourself, right? If you're doing it to protest police brutality, you're not being true to yourself. You're being un-American.
Everybody has an agenda. And when somebody acts in agreement with their agenda, they back it. They don't care if they're hypocrites. Okay, it just, they'll make excuses. I don't know. To me, you know what? Okay, and I'm not even so much mad. I'm not mad about this at all. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed in Provorov, but whatever. He's got his own views. Whatever. I'm disappointed in Tortorella for, like, I mean, if you say one thing, back it up. Don't hem and haw. I don't know. Nobody was asking Provorov to stick his tongue down a guy's throat. They were asking him to wear a jersey that symbolizes inclusion. Hockey is for everyone in the NHL. It's an NHL initiative that they're doing. So, okay, so Provorov's religion says, no LGBTQ, you're not, I'm not sure exactly how detailed and fine grained that gets as far as what you can and can't do. Like, you can't wear a jersey that basically says, I feel that that everyone should be welcome at hockey games, should be welcome to play hockey, should not be criticized or discriminated against at all. That doesn't, you can say that, and you can also still be against that lifestyle, because their lifestyle really has nothing to do with the fact that they may want to play hockey or enjoy hockey or be welcome to hockey events. You know what I mean? So I don't understand. You can welcome somebody to an event, but you can also disagree with the lifestyle too. I don't understand, just because they happen to be gay, why you can't support the league initiative that welcomes them to play hockey as people.
Right. And that's my point too, is that this is hiding behind your religious beliefs to me. I'm sorry.
I agree.
When I call Provorov a bigot, and I don't just come out and call people names like this, and I don't care who hears it, he's a bigot. You're hiding behind your religious beliefs because you don't want to partake in something, because you don't agree with the lifestyle. Even though, to me, this is not a lifestyle. This is how you are born, who you are. It's no different than somebody being Russian and somebody being from England. It's the way you're born. And I want to quote here our friend Dr. F117 Nighthawk. We've mentioned her on the show. She's been in the comments before here. She had a great tweet that I just loved when I saw it. I thought it said it perfectly. If your religious beliefs say others don't deserve the same rights you have, your beliefs are the problem. Stop using religion as a weapon towards others and a shield for yourself. It's disgusting, and I don't respect you. And I'm sorry, I feel the exact same way. To say that your religious beliefs don't allow you to participate in something that just screams inclusion to a group of people, then you're the problem. Your religion is the problem. It's not the other people that are the problem. And I'll let you guys talk. I've got other thoughts on it, but I'll wait.
Well, I just wanted to say that it to me, that should bigotry be condemned? Right, and he is being a bigot. I mean, the definition of the word, that is it. And I agree with you, Jeff, that he's using his religion to hide behind, he's using his religion to advance his bigotry, or to let it shine, if you will. But he is Russian Orthodox, right? So that's his religion, and his religion also says it prohibits premarital sex. He has a girlfriend. They live together. You can draw your own conclusions. Okay, they're both adults. They live together. So he's kind of picking and choosing. So by him if he's going to stand by this and say my religion says I can't wear this jersey, basically saying, oh, if my religion said it was okay, I'd wear it. But your religion also says you shouldn't, premarital sex, but you live with your girlfriend, and so I'm assuming that's going on. So assuming that is,
Allegedly.
what's the difference? Allegedly, right? Allegedly, I am drawing conclusions based on rational scenario, but so yeah, to pick and choose.
Wait, are you?
What
I was
your
going to say
religion
you're telling me that people are picking and choosing parts of the religion that they
To
want
fit-
practice and parts they don't?
is to fit
That
to fit,
never happens.
to fit their narrative, to allow their prejudices to be, shown. And I think, and that's a shame. I'm not, and I don't, and again, I don't hate Provorov for feeling this way. I'm just disappointed that I'm more disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed at that. So I'm wondering what the harm would have been to have worn the jersey. Does your religion say you can't even hold up a pride flag? Or, no one's asking you to be part of the LGBTQ community. But that's a different case. And I think if just to be accepting of inclusionary of people is the whole goal. Either you're for inclusion or you aren't. And I think Provorov has come out as he's not for inclusion, and that irritates and upsets people because it's backwards thinking. It's not progressive, and I think people calling him out on it online, that's rightfully so. I mean, if you it's not a freedom of speech issue. He's not going to jail over this. He wasn't arrested. His freedom of speech has not been infringed. He can say whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. But his freedom of speech does not mean freedom from repercussions of what he does. He can, he can face backlash. He can face other things. He can get fired from his job. People can get fired from their jobs for saying all kinds of stuff.
Well, I want to address Hotard 12 comment here. He says, why in the Lord's name does anyone's beliefs matter when it comes to sports? The public in general should care less about athletes' beliefs and political views and only care about the athletes' talents. I get your point, 100%. The problem is sports are bigger than that. Professional sports are simply just bigger than that. And the point that I was making to somebody else on Twitter right now, or earlier today, was that the problem is the Flyers, the NHL, but mostly the Flyers, by having a Pride Night, are sending a team message that we want everyone involved in hockey. Everybody. Hockey is literally for everyone. If you have a disability, the color of your skin, what you believe in, it doesn't matter. Hockey is for you. And for one player to sit out, and I saw other people saying, like, well, what about the 18 guys that did participate in the skate? That's great. Good for them. And I'm glad they did. But when you have one guy that's not in line with the rest of the team's message, that completely eliminates the entire team's message. It's an inclusion message that is sent by the Philadelphia Flyers. If you have somebody on your team that's just, okay, I don't believe in that, sorry, you might as well not send the message because it's not going to be construed the way that it should be.
Yeah, it's not hockey is for everyone unless, or except for, it's hockey is for everyone, period. And
that's
like
the other
I said,
point I made too, is that, like, we always say hockey is the ultimate team sport, right? So if the entire team is not on board, then that's not the case. It's not a team sport.
And again, I think there's a number of parts of this that kind of irritate people, and part of it is the picking of choosing of his religion and using a religion to be bigoted. And if you believe bigotry should be condemned, then I don't think there's any question that Provorov has exhibited bigotry here. So if you believe that bigotry should be condemned, then you should understand why people are being critical of him, because that's bigotry isn't. It's not something that. It's interesting. There's a lot of them. A lot of people are saying, "Let him do what he wants. Who cares? Let him do what he wants. Who cares what he thinks or does?" And part of me is like, part of me wants to feel that way. I would love to feel, oh, who cares what someone does? But I think the problem with that attitude is if too many people have that attitude, then that's when things can go wrong. Human rights aren't distributed evenly. People lose momentum when they want they're fighting for rights, like the LGBT community is constantly having to do. If they don't get people on board, they're not gonna be treated as equal citizens. It's hard enough for them already as it is. So, and I think just ignoring it is sticking your head in the sand. I'm not really on board with that, because I think that sends the wrong message to people who are bigoted. But
Bill, we've talked a lot. You have anything to add?
No. I agree completely, right? That it's supposed to be about inclusion. And it's difficult for any organization, right, to require inclusivity, right? That's what most major corporations are pushing, at least publicly traded ones are pushing towards. And I'm on the side of it. I think that is the way to go. Why do you want to why would you want to alienate anyone, right? As a business, right? You want everybody to be involved. But the worst part, and you guys have made all the good points here tonight, and the worst part about it to me is the point that Dr. Nighthawk brought up, hiding behind religion. When you use religion, especially Christianity, which is supposed to be based on love, right? When you use it to be intolerant, it's lost its meaning, and you're just hiding behind it. And that's ridiculous to me. I can never support that.
God damn it, Hotard, who's a friend of mine, and I love you no matter what we agree or disagree on. You just brought up my next point. I thought this was a hockey podcast. I'm not going to walk down the political sidewalk.
Well,
this is not politics.
This is a hockey.
I'm sorry. This is being a good human being and being tolerant of other people's views. The talk of, and again, the stuff that I heard on Twitter today was teams need to stay out of politics and stick to hockey. This is not politics. I don't care what your governing body is telling you. This is not politics. This is being a good fellow man. This has nothing to do with what a Republican or a Democrat tells you. This is love thy neighbor is what this is. Like, love thy neighbor is what trumps everything in the Bible. If you read the Bible, that's what it tells you. And it's true. And for us to be so, and I'm not saying, Hotard, I know you're a great man. I'm not saying anything bad about you. But the people I talked to on Twitter today, unbelievable, the stuff that I read. Like, this, I don't care that, somebody is going to tell me that, oh, well, this is political. I don't know why hockey organizations are getting involved. It's not. This is being a tolerant human being and being somebody who is just accepting of other cultures. And that's not what we saw last night with Provorov.
This isn't just a random incident that we're talking about. This was an NHL incident. So it is a hockey event that happened, and the hockey world is talking about it.
Yes.
So, in the hockey podcast. I mean, and it is at the end of the show. So, for those who don't want to, aren't comfortable, then they don't, they can turn it off. But
I'm sure there's some podcast listeners that have already turned us off at this point.
And well, and okay, so we mentioned Dr. Nighthawk's tweet. There was a response to that from Champs Joel at Joel James 15. He said, the Eastern Orthodox Russian Church isn't even looked at as a true religion. It's more of a socio-political organization. Not very many associate with it anymore. It's a big part of why my family had to move out of the Ukraine due to their violence. For him to mention it is wild. So based on that insight from somebody who saw the religion close up in the Ukraine, I guess we can go down the rabbit hole of what constitutes a religion, to be able to say that my religion says this or that, and I don't want to do this or that based on that. So, again, that's based on one person, what they're saying. So I don't know if that's true or not, but
right. None of us know a damn thing about the Russian Orthodox Church,
no.
Right? I think we're all very familiar with the basic tenets of Christianity, and it pains me, when people take the message and bend it towards intolerance. Cannot tolerate that. I'm intolerant of intolerance. Damn it.
Which reminds me,
too.
which I had a conversation on Twitter. A guy told me that because I'm not accepting of bigots, that makes me a bigot. And I was like, that's not how it works. I'm not racist because I despise racism either. It's the same thing. That made me laugh. I was like, and he was serious. I was like, oh, come on, dude. Sometimes people are reaching, but
I will say I was very happy. I was able to pull out an Inigo Montoya quote on somebody today, because he kept calling me a hypocrite on, again, the kneeling versus the Provorov situation. And I kept explaining how this is not hypocritical, that this is just, again, it's being tolerant of other people's cultures and who they are. And he called me a hypocrite again. And I said, there you go, using that word. There you go, using that word again. I don't believe it means what you think it means.
Hotar12 also said, so if your employer tells you that we are making you go nude on Fridays because we want everyone to feel welcome, we'd support that. I think that's a pretty extreme example. That's not realistic. I think a better example would be your employer has a dress code and you have to wear this particular shirt with these particular pants. And if you show up to work and you say, I'm not going to wear that, it's against my religion to wear that color or whatever, then you might get fired. Or whatever. Maybe they accommodate you, maybe they don't.
My full-time gig recently, within the last year, did say that within our email address and in our instant messenger we use, to include our pronouns. And I, without even thinking, I'm like, okay, he, him, sure, no problem. And I don't want to say
him?
I am. Isn't that shocking?
That's shocking.
Matt Harris might have just won.
Let's go Nudes Radio. Nice.
Let's go Nudes Radio.
And again, I'm not mad about any of this. I think it's interesting. I'm disappointed in some people.
Let me finish my thought. Yeah. That's all right. So Matt, you interrupted us with a great comment. So I told a family member about what they said, and she's like, holy shit, I would not have done that. And I'm like, why? And she's like, it goes against any of your beliefs, right? And I go, why? It's not a big deal. Like, yeah, I'm he, him. I don't care. Like, whoever needs that clarification, they have it. Well, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do that. It's a company policy. It's not a big deal. Like, that's what I like. Not telling me to go nude. That's not going to happen. Asking me to do something like that, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought yours was they, them.
Yeah, well, who knows? No,
I don't. Again, I'm not. People came at me on Twitter for, and Ben Hockman had to deal with some shit today. He called Provorov a jerk, and for what he did, and people came out of the woodwork against him. But people kind of came at me kind of harsh, and call me names and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not angry at anything. I'm disappointed in how things turned out. I don't think I wish it had turned out differently. But it's an interesting discussion for me, and I disagree with how some things were handled, but I'm not mad at anybody. I think that's kind of a weird, I'm not part of the LGBTQ community, so I do support them, but I'm not one of them. But I just, I can see where that would upset, someone in that position, because, they're fighting for, inclusion, all over the place. And when someone prominent, disses that, it hurts the cause. So I can see, where there would be some people that are upset over that. And also, we didn't mention about the contract, did we? It's in his contract.
No.
It's in a standard player contract. He's supposed to participate in, and how's it worded here? It's worded to cooperate with the club and participate in any and all reasonable promotional activities of the club, which will, in the opinion of the club, promote the welfare of the club, and to cooperate in the promotion of the league and professional hockey generally. So unless you consider wearing a Pride jersey in the warm-up unreasonable.
Right. But,
and that's where the gray area comes in, right?
Right. That's exactly it. Right?
Well, that's why it's worded that way too.
Right. And Ken brought up, and I didn't get into this until way too late in the discussions about what we're talking about tonight, to really read up on it. But Ken brought up that the Flyers consulted attorneys to find out could they keep him out of the game, and it was decided they couldn't. And I'm betting, based on that part of the clause, reasonable, right?
Right.
He can say it's not reasonable to me because of my religion. And again,
yeah,
hiding behind the religion, not a great look, but it's one of those things that, in a court of law, it would probably stand up.
So I have a question for Hotard, since he's passionate about this. I mentioned before in the show, a little bit earlier, to you, do you think bigotry should be condemned? And that's it. There's nothing else to it. Yes or no?
I just want to add that, and this is my last real comment on all this, is I'm with you, Kurt. I wasn't mad. I don't even want to say I was disappointed. I just kind of figured that this is going to happen at least once a season with some teams, with some players. It's going to happen. I'm just kind of, I guess, kind of numb to this at this point. What bothers me, and again, I'm not, if you voted for Trump, fine. But like when Trump won and all of a sudden there was a shit ton of bigotry in the world that just came out of the woodwork. That is what drove me nuts in 2016. That, especially for like the first couple months, these people who are just giant bigots, all of a sudden were just, I'm on social media, I'm going to go on the news, I'm going to tell people how I feel. And it's just like, I'm sorry, you're living in the past. You're not living in now. And even these little situations, clearly it's a little pocket compared to something like that. But in this kind of situation, it brings these people out to just, oh, well, basically this guy came out as a bigot, so now I can go on social media and say whatever the hell I want. And that is what upsets me, because, you think about it, us, where we live, the people we associate with, good people, and just, great areas we live in. You get used to your own bubble where it's like, I can say what I want, do what I want. I can talk to these reasonable people, and they're going to say, yeah, I condemn anybody who is a bigot and against, people kneeling, not even kneeling. That's not even the whole point. But condemn people who would go against an LGBTQ community member. But when this kind of thing happens, you start seeing it. It's like a chain reaction of people just shooting out their mouths and just saying whatever the hell they want at any time to anyone they want. You know, you see these stories written about it, and the comments are just filled with these huge bigots. That's what upsets me, is that I'm like, oh my God, like I forget that this still is a huge problem in this world. And yes, I'm glad it's coming to light that we're seeing it, but at the same time, it's upsetting to fully see it and understand that this is still a massive problem that we have to deal with nowadays.
Yeah. And we didn't get a response from Hotard about that. Maybe maybe he turned us off.
So
but
he might have been pissed enough to turn us off finally.
But I feel that bigotry should be condemned, and because if you don't condemn the evils in the world, it's just going to grow, and people are going to accept it, think it's acceptable, and it's not progressive. That's regressive and detrimental to certain groups in a lot of society. So I will condemn bigotry when I see it, and this fits the definition of it. I guess to Provorov's credit, he handled this. If you're going to be a bigot, he handled it about as well as he could. I guess he was very polite about it. He just said it was against his religion, and he wasn't going to participate, and that's all he's going to say about it. And so he probably did best not to say anymore, to tell you the truth. It would have been worse.
Actually, he says he's working on typing his response right now. He just texted me. So
okay, it's long. It was a yes or no question. It was a yes or no question.
He's ready for you, Kurt. He's a battler. I love Hody. He's a battler.
And like I said, I'm not looking to get into some kind of huge debate. I'm just asking a question, and it was yes or no. Do you think bigotry should be? There's no long explanation to that. It's a yes or no question. There's no middle ground with that question.
Oh, I think he wants to clarify what he's going to say. I don't blame him.
He's going to say yes, but right, and then the reason why. Something like that.
We'll see.
All right. Okay.
Well, while we await that, anything else on this topic you guys want to discuss?
No, I've said my piece.
Yeah, I think we've covered this very well. And I don't know if you guys saw what I popped in. I mentioned it earlier. I think before we wrap tonight, we need to raise a glass to Gino Ojic. Passed away.
Oh yeah. We'll discuss.
So,
don't worry.
Yeah,
That's
let's
coming.
get to that.
Yep.
While we wait for War and Peace.
First,
Greg Hotard.
War, Peace, and Zombies. Right?
Yes.
You guys know about that? Yeah. That one blew my as an English major, that blew my mind. That came out, I believe, when I was in college. I'm like, they literally just rewrote that to have zombies in it. Okay.
Because it needed to be longer.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Have you guys seen any journalists or people that spoke out in support of Provorov? I've seen a lot of things said by the hockey insiders and the hockey talking heads, if you will, condemning his act. But I haven't really seen any of the talking heads support him.
I'll say that my timeline is pretty, I guess, succinct, that I have pretty much muted a lot of accounts that might say that.
Right. You have a good media bias in your timeline.
Yes.
I mean, I know there are a lot of people, just regular users that are outspoken against the journalists. They're disagree. So
Hotard says, I'm still at work, can't continuously comment. Oh, yeah, I know he's got a very demanding job. So thank you for participating, Hotard. But to Kurt, he says, I don't feel anyone should be condemned. We're the land of the free, and it's unfortunate that we have both ends of the spectrum.
Okay.
I think is what he meant.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
But racism.
That has no.
But racism should be condemned. I mean, at least that.
Nazis.
I mean, you got to condemn
Nazis
something. You
should
got to
be
condemn
condemned.
something. I mean, we got to find some common ground somewhere.
I think only Nazis would say that Nazis should not be condemned.
I mean, Nazis and racism and hatred, just pure utter hatred of just whoever was. You got to condemn somebody. I mean, come on, this is America. We condemn people all the time for everything.
Those damn Salem witches.
I don't think bigotry is healthy at all, and I think that's a at least friendly condemning. You might want to reassess your views.
Why don't we circle
nice.
back on that? It sounds like you're saying like it's a work conversation.
Something
we should
nice
circle back on that.
Yeah,
let's circle back on your bigotry.
Yeah, when you
let's
have
touch base.
time. Yeah, we'll touch base later. When you have
we'll
time,
touch base next week.
You let me know what's good for you, and I'll work it out my schedule.
Hotard says, "Fuck white people."
Okay, yeah,
I'm with you. Actually, I agree with that.
Lately, yeah, I would not be. I don't want to blanket statement this too much, but yeah.
All right, so unless we have more comments that come in, I think we can wrap up this discussion. Couple more notes we want to get to before we close up. Joel Hofer and Matthew Highmore were selected as AHL All-Stars. Hofer is a name that we've talked about in recent weeks a lot. He has 11 wins in 23 games with the AHL Thunderbirds. He's top 7 in both GAA at 241 and save percentage at 921. He has won 7 of his last 10 starts in the NHL. In the AHL. And Matthew Highmore, who was a guy that was just signed this last year and made it pretty far in camp with the Blues, seemed like a guy they might call up at some point. I know he's 26 years old, but he has played a little bit in the NHL in 137 games for Chicago and Vancouver in the past. But he leads the Thunderbirds this year with 31 points, 24 assists, shares number 8 in the AHL. Again, this past summer, he signed a 1-year, 2-way deal. He has 3 power play goals and 18 penalty minutes. This is his second trip to the AHL All-Star Weekend. He was selected as a rookie playing for the Rockford Ice Hogs a couple years ago. Hofer really was not a surprise to me. Highmore is having a great season. And I remember seeing fans from Vancouver and Chicago commenting when the Blues made this signing that that's a kid to look out for. I say kid, he's 26, but he's a guy that could step in as a third, fourth line guy. I saw some comparisons to kind of a Nathan Walker type in the sense that he's an AHL scorer, but he's a good bottom 6 guy in the NHL if you can plug him in. So again, in 137 NHL games, Chicago and Vancouver, 12 goals and 15 assists for 27 career points. So congratulations to Joel Hofer and Matthew Highmore.
Hotard echoes what we mentioned, past couple weeks or so at least. Future backup goalie, Joel Hofer for the Blues.
Yep. Next year.
Next season.
I think it's definitely next season.
Yeah. Unless somebody wants to give us a 3rd-round pick for Grice at the deadline.
We'll see.
There's a tweet I saw earlier. When in Milwaukee, made 52 of 54 saves over a couple games against them. That's pretty damn good.
That's Ron Tugnut area.
Ron Tugnut.
UC Saros 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Tugnut made 70
in the 70s.
Yeah, 72 out of 73, something like that.
Yeah, against the Bruins.
That was nuts. Nuts,
What's a better name? Ron Tugnut or Kerry Taco?
Tugnut. Got to be Tugnut, right?
You think Tugnut? What do you think? Hey, Bill, you're gonna go Taco, aren't you?
I love tacos.
Well, Kurt loves Tugnuts.
Tugnuts. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, seeing Tugnut in the box score, that just made me chuckle.
I always liked Darcy Wakaluk. I
Wakaluk.
always thought that was a
Yes.
great name.
You know Brett Hull's quote with was it Wakaluk? It was Wakaluk, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wakaluk was hacking and whacking Hull, and after the game they asked him about it. Hull was standing in front of the goal, and Hull goes, "Yeah, I don't know who thinks he is, Patrick Waugh or something."
Didn't those two, weren't they paired together for a little bit in Dallas? Wakaluk and Tugnut? Am
Were
I
they?
mixing
Phew.
eras?
They may have been.
You're going down the rabbit hole there. Down the
Yeah, I really am.
opening the vault.
That's me reaching into my Fleer hockey card memories.
Oh, Peachy.
Yes. And then, as Bill had just mentioned, unfortunately, there is a death in the hockey family. Gino Ojic, the Vancouver Canucks tough guy. If you're our age, you know this name. A tough competitor to play against. And played 12 seasons in the NHL for the Canucks, Islanders, Flyers, and Canadiens. But again, mostly Canucks. Died at the age of, was it 52?
Yes, 52.
52. And did you guys offhand, do you know his first name, his actual first name?
It's not Gino.
It is not Gino. Bill?
I do not.
It is Wayne.
Wayne.
Wayne. You gotta, I want to ask Jared Keese if that had anything to do with his character's name.
Wayne?
Yeah.
You know what I think of when I think of Ojic? When with Vancouver and the Blues, he wanted to fight the entire bench.
Yeah.
It was in the Keenan era with the clown jerseys the Blues had on, and Glenn Anderson was on the ice. He wanted to fight Anderson. Anderson skates away backwards, and he had his jersey ripped off. He's just bare chested, bare skin. His pads were off, and he skates over the bench and wants to challenge anybody on the bench. It was like he was on coke or something. He just wanted to fight everybody.
Well, it was there's video of it the night of his passing, some of the great moments of his career, and that was the first thing that I saw. And it opens with him literally just beating the ever living shit out of Adam Creighton in a clown jersey, and I was like, I could get that with this.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Hey,
it all
you guys
it all
think
started
Gino's-
because of Anderson hitting Kirk McLean.
You think Gino saw red? Huh? Clown jersey? Get it?
Bad.
Get it?
Oh,
Get it?
boy.
Bad.
Fuck you, clown jerseys. No, Gino Ojic, a guy again. He was one of those guys that when they played against him, I hated him, but he played the style that I loved as a defenseman. So anytime there'd be the Canucks would be on ESPN or whatever, anytime I could catch a Canucks game when he was playing, I'm like, oh, that dude's a badass. Like, I want to play like him. That dude is so awesome. And I really appreciated his game. So it was really, really disheartening to see him go. And I know Canucks fans remember him very fondly.
Yeah.
So, hey, drink. You guys have a drink left. Here's to Gino. There you go.
Big
There you
mug.
go.
There you go.
Whoa, that is a giant mug. Is that all tea?
No, this is water.
Don't.
I was gonna
toast water.
say.
Don't-
If this were full of tea, I drank it all. I'd have like instant kidney stones.
Kidney stones.
Kidney stones. Kidney stones.
Or kidney stones.
That's a good episode.
It's a great episode.
Yeah. Last thought on
well,
the Gino Ojic thing. Look up his penalty shot on Mike Vernon. It's a thing of beauty.
Really?
Gino Ojic got a penalty shot and scored on Mike Vernon. It's moment of greatness from him.
Might you know what? Maybe if I had Kurt, if you or I remember to whichever one of us edits the show, maybe we'll throw that in there at the end. The audio of his penalty shot.
All right.
I'm gonna write that note down in case I don't know if you're editing or if I will, but I'm gonna write that down now.
We can all agree I'm not editing.
Yeah.
Again, there's gonna be one day where we're gonna make you do all of this.
It's like, Bill's takeover.
Yeah, Kurt and I are just gonna do what Bill does, and we'll just show up at 9:15 ready to talk,
Just talk hockey and wipe your hands of it.
and then we'll say, "Hey, good luck editing tomorrow, Bill."
Editing's fun. I like editing.
I actually do too. It's good. Yeah, it's fun to make us sound good because
Right.
we don't sound good normally.
No. You got to like do all kinds of doctoring to it, the voices.
Right. Yeah. We made this joke before, but if you listen to the podcast, it is nothing like this show. It's way different.
Yeah, there's no visuals.
Well, yeah, but I was making a joke that it's literally a completely different show. I just grab audio from I don't know. I can't think of the guy that does the Shorzy and Letterkenny, Jay Onright. Yeah, I just pull audio from Jay Onright and put that on the podcast.
Oh.
Which, hey, big news. That's kind of relevant to our show. Shorzy season 2 was announced this week.
It got picked up.
I haven't even watched season 1 yet.
Oh, it's good.
I've heard. I know.
It is very short. Hey, there's a Dexter cameo.
There he is.
All right. There you go. Well, anything else tonight, boys?
Done
like dinner.
Dun.
All right. Well, I am trying to... Kurt, I don't know how you do this every week.
Lots of practice.
Yes. So
it sucks when you get behind and you're like, oh boy, I'm not even where I'm supposed to be yet, and there's like dead air.
Yeah, because I'm trying to run everything. Yeah, and it's like oh shit, yeah, I'm doing all the closing stuff. So let me get on that. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Visit strikewithmike.com today for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's strikewithmike.com. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Center Ice Brewery beer. Please drink responsibly. That will wrap up episode 17 of season 11 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those that participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Kurt Price and Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder. Until next time, everyone, beat the damn Predators. Let's go Blues.
Be inclusive, be kind, be better. Let's go Blues.
Only be intolerant of intolerance. Let's go Blues.
And be intolerant of the Predators. Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more, no matter what the